You can spend years chasing a life that looks successful from the outside while quietly wondering why you still don't want it. Maybe you've imagined the perfect job, the perfect body, the perfect income, the perfect relationship, the version of you that finally has everything figured out. And yet when you get closer to it, something feels strangely empty. So you set another goal, a better job, more money, more followers, a bigger apartment, another achievement. You keep moving. But what if the problem isn't that you're failing to reach the life you want? What if you've been getting better and better at reaching a life you never actually chose? There's a strange difference between wanting something and wanting what you think having that thing would say about you. Psychologists have studied that difference for decades, and it changes the way you should think about almost every major goal in your life. In 1999, psychologists Kenan Sheldon and Andrew Elliott followed people's goal pursuit using 3 longitudinal data sets. They found that goals were more likely to be sustained when they matched a person's own interests and core values. They called these self-concordant goals. In plain English, the goal feels like it belongs to you. And when people actually achieved those goals, the well-being benefit was also greater when the goals were self-concordant. That sounds obvious, but there's a problem. You don't always know which desires are yours. Some arrive before you can question them. A parent tells you what success looks like. Your friends start choosing careers. Social media shows you what everyone else seems to have. You watch someone your age buy a house. Someone else gets promoted. Someone else travels every month. And suddenly your own life starts looking like a problem that needs fixing. You don't necessarily want their life. You just don't want to feel behind. That's where the trap gets interesting. Social comparison research began with a simple question. How do you know how well you're doing when there is no objective scoreboard? Leon Festinger's 1954 theory proposed that people often evaluate their abilities and opinions by comparing themselves with other people when objective standards aren't available. The method is simple. Look sideways. Find someone who seems ahead, then use them as a measuring stick. But your brain doesn't tell you that you've changed the measuring stick. It just tells you that you're losing, and now the goal becomes emotionally important. Not because the goal itself matters, but because falling short of it feels like falling short as a person. That changes what happens next. You stop asking, do I actually want this? You start asking, why don't I have this yet? Those questions sound almost identical. They aren't. One is about desire. The other is about comparison. And once comparison takes over, achievement can become strangely addictive. You can reach a milestone and feel almost nothing, then immediately create another one because the goal was never just the destination. It was proof that you're successful, proof that you're attractive, proof that you're intelligent, proof that you're not falling behind, and proof is never finished. Researchers Tim Kasser and Richard Ryan studied this problem directly. In 1996, they compared 2 broad kinds of aspirations across 2 studies: goals centered on external rewards like money, appearance, and social recognition, and goals centered more on things like self-acceptance, relationships, community, and health. The studies found that when extrinsic aspirations were more central, they were associated with lower well-being. Intrinsic aspirations showed the opposite pattern. That doesn't mean money is bad. It doesn't mean ambition is bad. And it definitely doesn't mean you should stop wanting success. The important question is why the goal has become important. Imagine 2 people who both want to become wealthy. One wants money because they genuinely enjoy building things, solving problems, and creating freedom. The other wants money because being wealthy would finally prove that they are worth something. The outside goal looks identical. The psychological goal isn't. And that's the part people miss. You can chase the same achievement for completely different reasons. One reason can energize you. Another can quietly consume you. Self-determination theory gives another piece of the puzzle. In 2000, Richard Ryan and Edward Desai summarized research showing that human motivation is closely tied to three basic psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy means feeling that you're choosing your actions. Competence means feeling capable of making progress. Relatedness means feeling connected to other people. When those needs are supported, motivation and well-being tend to improve. When they are repeatedly frustrated, motivation and well-being suffer. Now look at the life you're chasing. How much of it actually gives you those three things? Does the goal feel chosen? Does working toward it make you feel capable? Does it connect you to people who matter, or does it mostly give you a number to hit, a title to earn, a person to impress, a lifestyle to display? That's where the goal can become a cage, because from the outside you're moving forward, but internally you're moving farther away from yourself. And here's the reversal. The solution isn't to stop chasing goals, it's to stop treating every desire as evidence that you should pursue it. Some goals deserve effort, some deserve examination, and some deserve to be dropped. The difficult part is that dropping a goal can feel like failure, especially when you've spent years telling other people about it. Maybe everyone knows you're going to become a doctor. Maybe everyone expects you to make a lot of money. Maybe you've built your identity around being the person who gets perfect grades. Maybe you don't even remember when the goal became yours. You just remember that quitting feels impossible. But a goal doesn't become meaningful because you've spent a long time chasing it. Sometimes the time you've already invested is exactly what makes it harder to question. So try a different question. Forget whether the goal looks impressive. Forget whether someone else your age has already achieved it. Forget whether your younger self promised to become this person. Ask what would remain if nobody could ever see the result. No applause, no Instagram post, no family approval, no status, no one to impress. Would you still want the life you're building? If the answer is yes, that's useful information. If the answer is no, that's useful too, because you may not need more discipline. You may need a different destination. And there is something strangely freeing about realizing that. You don't have to become the person you once imagined. You don't have to keep paying for a goal just because you've already invested years in it. You can choose again, not because your old dream was stupid, but because you're allowed to discover that it was never really yours. The life you want shouldn't only look good when someone else is watching.